Hey YouTube. So this is kind of a channel update, first part intro video for a video series I'm about to start on YouTube. Um, First with the channel, I know I've never been like a constant uploader. I don't, let me see my cat back there. I don't have a whole lot of videos. It's mostly been things that I have filmed that I want to share with just friends and family. I mean, I've got a couple race car videos out there. There's the Camaro one, and then my buddy's Mustang. That's it on that though. So what this really is for is just gonna say that I'm gonna try to do more videos. You know, I've got friends that do YouTube videos, and I kind of enjoy watching their videos. I want to try it. So this will be the intro video for my first YouTube series, I guess you could call it. It's the 1995 Toyota Tercel Hypermile project I'm working on. And this is just going to give a little back history on it before I start working on the car itself. So I actually bought this car back in 2013. I was on my way down to Texas, and the transmission of my truck went out. So needed a car, bought it, 95 Toyota Tercel, 245,000-ish, 240,000 miles on it. Drove it around for 6 months till I saved up enough money to put a transmission in my truck. When I bought the transmission, I had it shipped to my mother's house because I was going down to visit her. On my way in this car to go put that transmission in and get my truck back, this car broke down. I stopped for fuel in Paris, Texas, and when I came out from the gas station, it wouldn't start. The starter would turn over, and it was just making like a weird grinding noise. It wasn't actually engaging anything. So I kind of figured it was a mechanical failure of the starter itself. I was thinking the gear fell off the end of the starter, which turned out to actually be true. It wouldn't start. So called my mom. She came pick me up. Went home the next day. Me and a buddy drove out there to see if we could figure out how to get it home without pulling it home. So what we ended up doing was taking off the power steering pump belt and wrapping a ratchet strap around the crankshaft pulley and running it up through the top of the hood. And then we used my mother's car to pull start the engine like a lawnmower, because nobody in town had a starter. It wasn't a starter for like 100 miles. So pull started like a lawnmower, and it actually started, which is crazy. I might make a video of that, like as a proof of concept video, because I didn't think, nobody else thought it would work, and I was kind of hesitant on it. I figured it would. Just, lawnmowers do it. Why can't we? But when it started, you could hear like a tinging noise. It sounded like it was coming from the transmission. And 10 seconds after it started, it locked up solid. Couldn't turn the crank with your hand like you could before. Couldn't do anything. So ended up flat towing the car home, and got shoved in the woods at my mother's house, and it sat there for almost 4 years. Yeah, right around 4 years. Until 6 months ago, I went down there and was like, I think I'm gonna pull that car out and see if I can get it running. Like, it gets way better fuel mileage in the truck, and right now I drive almost 80 miles a day round trip for work. It's like, I could drive it for work, save some fuel, save some money. Which turned out, hopefully it'll work pretty good. But oh man, anyway, so pulled it out of the woods, started taking it apart, pulled the starter out of it, and sure enough, the starter gear was missing off the end of it, off the end of the shaft of the starter. Was able to dig the gear and the spring both out of the bell housing. Had to kind of bend the not flex plate, had to bend the dust cover up out of the way to get to the spring. But I took it over to my buddy's house, and all I had was a hand file, so I hand filed the gear as straight as I could get it. Kind of the teeth were messed up, and put the spring and the gear on the starter and welded a nut on the end of the shaft, and surprisingly it worked. It worked really well, really. I mean, you'll hear it. It's kind of a tinking noise. I'm pretty sure that it's the starter not retracting all the way. I think the splines are kind of messed up, which makes sense. Just weld that stuff on there, but you'll hear it in the next video. It's pretty terrible. But yeah, so that's a little bit of the history of the car. I've got it up here now. It's cold right now, and it's nighttime, and it's still in the trailer. So I'm not gonna go show you because it's cold and it's raining out also. But you'll see it in the beginning of the next video. I just kind of want to go over what my plans are with the car. Like I said, it's a hypermile project, and for people who don't know what hypermiling is, it's defined as a form of extreme energy efficient driving where the aim is to get the most miles out of every gallon of gas. So, really good gas miling, really good gas mileage driving. So, kind of makes sense, hypermiling, yeah. The definition goes on to say, rather than spending money on buying the most economical car, the idea is to drive your current car in the most economical way possible. So, with that being said, I have hypermiled my truck before. I was able to get 25 out of it, which, I mean, it's no 7 Dodge Dakota. I can't really expect more than that. That was pushing it too. But, so here are my ideas for this car. The first, I want to do two tanks, and then average miles per gallon between the two tanks, so my numbers are more consistent. So the first 2 tanks are going to be my baseline test. I'm just going to drive it. I'm not going to change any of my driving habits. I'm not going to change anything on the car. I'm just going to drive it. The third and the fourth tank are going to be like maintenance-based items. I'm going to change the fuel filter, the engine oil and filter, an air filter. I'm going to get new tires put on it because those ones are old and pretty worn out. They got a lot of dry rot on them from sitting flat for so long. I'm also going to do an alignment. I'm not going to mess with the transmission because I don't know if it's ever been changed, the fluid has ever been changed. And they say if it hasn't been changed, don't change it. It can mess stuff up. So I'm not going to mess with it. Tanks 5 and 6, they are going to be my basic hypermiling mods. So anything that's in the car that doesn't need to be in the car is going to come out for weight reduction. So, any extra trash or any extra tools, the spare tires are going to come out. That kind of stuff. Anything that doesn't need to be in there is going to come out. Along with this, the tires are going to inflate to the maximum rated sidewall PSI to help reduce rolling resistance. And I'm also going to do like driver mods. So I'm going to try not to accelerate quite as hard. I'll bring my speed down, 75 to maybe 65. I drive, luckily I work at night, so I'm always opposite of the traffic on the highway, so it doesn't matter how fast I'm going because there's nobody behind me. We'll see what that does, and then I'll tank 7 and 8 is where we start to get into the fun stuff where I think we'll see the most difference out of the car. Tank 7 and 8 are going to be my heavy hypermile mods and engine modification. So anything I can remove out of the car, I'm going to remove out of the car. So we're talking passenger seats, seat belts, speakers, the radio, everything in the trunk, the liner, the door panels, any kind of trim pieces, probably the headliner. I'm debating on doing the carpet and the dashboard. The dashboard just sounds like a nightmare to try and get out, and I don't know if it weighs that much, but if I take the dashboard out, then I can take the plenum out, and I can get rid of my AC stuff and my heater core, because I don't really need those. It's about to be spring, so I might keep the heater core just in case I need to defrost. But engine mods, I will remove the AC system, so the compressor, all the lines, the condenser, the dryer, all coming out. I'm probably not going to remove the wiring, just because that sounds like a nightmare, and I don't want to deal with it for 2 pounds. Also, the power steering system is going to be removed, and any associated belt tensioning pulleys or idler pulleys. I am debating on whether doing a lightweight alternator. I need to see how much that pulls with the high beams on. I found some small alternators on eBay. They're like 35 amp single wire output alternators. That would work all right. I don't think it pulls that much. But and then like a lightweight battery, something smaller. I'm probably not going to go with like a race car battery because it's expensive. I'll probably just get a smaller battery. Along with the heavy like engine mods and stuff, I'm also going to do more driver mods. So I'm going to be driving 55 miles an hour max, slowing down. I'm going to try to not use the brakes at all. I want to be able to coast on my stops. If I'm sitting in a red light, the engine's going to be off. I'm going to install a push to start and a push to stop button so I can coast. While I'm coasting, I can hit it, shut the engine off, and restart it without having to use the key. I'm also going to use a technique called pulse and glide. I don't know how well that'll work. It says like accelerate, shut your engine off, coast. Accelerate, shut your engine off, coast. It doesn't seem like it'll do much for me. Most of my driving is on flat highway, so I don't think there's a whole lot there. Maybe if I was going down a mountain or something. Drafting is another one. Again, I don't recommend anybody else do this, but if there's a semi that's driving, 60, I'll probably stay behind him and drive 60, because I think the drafting will outweigh the cost of the extra 5 miles a gallon. Drag increases exponentially on your car, so drag at 60 miles an hour is 4 times the drag at 30 miles an hour. I'm also going to do aerodynamic mods. I'm going to remove the 2 mirrors because I only do one here in Oklahoma, and I'm going to remove the antenna as well. I'm thinking about doing body mods as far as like the moon dish covers on the wheels and the rear wheel. I don't know what they're called. We like plate off the rear wheels so the air flows smoother over them. That's going to be the big one as far as like gaining efficiency. After tank 8, I plan on doing like experimental mods. I don't know really what else to call them. I'm including the exhaust system in here because I'm not about to spend $400 on headers for a car that costs $1,000. Like, this thing is stupid. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I will probably remove the cat and just replace it with a piece of pipe. Maybe modify a set of like B18 muffler. Like, I have a B18 header. I might modify and see if I can make that work with it. I don't know. I'm also going to do a belly pan on the bottom of the car. Luckily, I work at a steel shop and I can get steel super cheap. Now, I know that steel adds weight. They say for every 100 pounds of weight you reduce out of a car, you gain 2% efficiency. So, a 22 gauge sheet of metal, 72 inches wide, 158 inches long, weighs right at 100 pounds, just a little bit more. What I've seen on forums from people using belly pans, they normally gain 2.5 to 4%. 4% is more on like the bigger trucks, where it actually blocks a lot more air than this. But 100 pounds is for a full sheet. I'm probably not going to use a full sheet. It's a tiny car. I'm not going to cover. Probably not going to need the whole thing to cover the bottom. So even 50 pounds, if I gain 2.5, 3%, I'm willing to put that extra weight on there. Let's see. The hot air intake is very controversial. I've heard yes it works, and I've heard no it doesn't. It's a stupid mod, don't do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see how it affects it. If it makes it worse, I'll change it back. If it makes it better, I'll leave it. The idea behind a hot air intake, if you don't know, is the hotter the air is coming into your intake, the less fuel you need to maintain a stoichiometric air-fuel ratio. So hotter air, less fuel. Basic. There's also a fuel system that was developed by a gentleman named Thomas Ogle. It was back in the day. He said that he could get a 200% increase in efficiency out of his car by running his fuel system. What it comes down to is a container where air is drawn through a tube underneath the fuel that causes the fuel to bubble, and when it bubbles, it releases particles like in a gaseous state into the air. The air is sucked into the engine and burned. That's supposed to be more efficient because you're not counting on the fuel to atomize itself from the injectors or carburetor. I've seen a couple fake videos that I know are fake for sure, and one that I know is real that was actually on a lawnmower using that system. He didn't get much of an increase. It was like a 3% increase, but I mean, that's still an increase. So the point is fuel mileage. We'll see how it goes. He said in his original design he had to run a heater in the tank because it got so cold that the fuel wouldn't want to atomize. I'm not a huge fan of putting electricity and gas together, especially when I'm trying to produce gas vapor in an area where there's enough air for it to also ignite. So if I do end up running a heater, my idea is to get either an oil, like an old oil cooler from the junkyard, is probably what I'll end up using, and run coolant through it and put that underneath the fuel, so it'll be so the fuel will be heated by the coolant. I think that's the safest way to go, but still not a huge fan of it. Alright, let's see what else. I had an idea of putting a wideband O2 sensor in it and running a manual fuel pressure regulator where I could turn down the fuel to make it run leaner. I don't want to grenade the engine. If I do, it's not a big deal. You know, it's a junk car. I don't know if I'm going to do it that way, or if I'm going to run like a potentiometer on the fuel injectors so that I can increase the resistance so the fuel injectors don't open as far. That was another idea I had. And then, you know, watch. No, kitty, get back. Watch the air fuel ratio to make sure I don't run too lean, but we'll see. One of the other ones, replacing glass with Lexan. Lexan is a lot less than glass, so of course it'd save more weight. I also would like to lower the ride height, but again, with spending a lot of money on a car that's not worth anything, it's kind of dumb, you know, even if I'm trying to save money. So if I do lower the ride height, I'm probably going to figure out a way to do it without having to buy new stuff. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But some of the other mods I want to do due to the car, when you see it, the paint is terrible on it. Yeah, it's sat for a long time out in the elements. It's also 23 years old now. Needs paint. I'm not going to pay for paint job. I'm probably going to spray paint it. I will do my best to make the spray paint look good, but no promises. We'll go through that together though. And also, the tint on it is super bad. You can't see out of any of the windows except for the driver window and the windshield because the tint is so terrible on it. So if I do keep the glass until I do Lexan, I'm going to have to figure out a way to clean the tint off of there because you can't see anything. But yeah, that's kind of my plan for now. I have the video from the first start. I'm going to go ahead and play it now. I'm sorry, my mother was filming. She likes to talk. It's not the greatest, but the first start, you know, after sitting for 4 years, it's pretty funny. It smoked like a freight train. You don't see that in the video, but I will also post pictures of it. Yeah, so that's my plan. You know, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. If you have any other hypermiling mods you want me to try, you know, leave those too. I'd love to do them. It sounds, you know, sounds like fun to me. I know a lot of people probably aren't interested in hypermiling stuff, but you know, I have fast cars. I've got my Z28. You know, I've had big trucks, small trucks. I've had motorcycles. And this is just, you know, the next thing for me. You know, I have a Jeep, so it's just one of those things that's bound to happen at some point. But I hope this can be informative to other people who are looking at saving money in a simple way. But yeah, you know, like and share, subscribe. I would really appreciate all your views. Thanks, YouTube. Have a good night.
Oh, are you taping? Baby. Lord. Okay,
Quite a bit of cranking.